I'm speaking to pretty much the mastermind behind Jack Doherty right now. Without you, where would he be right now?
He would be pretty stuck. He climbed so high and just kept climbing, and then as soon as I left, it was just plateau and downhill. Who in their right mind would say no to getting to move down to Florida, live in a mansion, create content, and just be around all these cool people? You have to do business with the right people. There's no such thing as bad publicity. If it feels like you're doing it wrong, then you're doing it right.
Really, the whole game of videos is retention.
Work today like tomorrow, everything was going to be taken away from me. No matter where I go in life today, I started with little to nothing, and I found a way to make it happen.
Okay, in this episode, I talked to Joseph, and this dude is pretty much the mastermind behind Jack Doherty's success. Behind the scenes of all the crazy stuff that happens to Jack, this guy is coming up with the ideas, setting up the live streams, recording the videos, and managing a lot of the stuff behind what he's actually doing, and making sure that it all runs smoothly. He has been in the room with millionaire content creators and even billionaires. And in this episode, we go through all the secrets behind that, like networking, setting up clippers, and would Jack even be successful without this guy? And actually, more importantly, what does it mean to work with the right people? Foreshadowing a little bit to what happens here. But anyways, this was an awesome episode. It's really cool to actually get a behind the scenes look into what these people actually do and how the business actually functions. And so without further ado, please enjoy the episode. Boom. So I feel like I'm speaking to pretty much the mastermind behind Jack Doherty right now. Without you, let's say your role in his channel was extinguished, gone. Where would he be right now?
Probably exactly where he is right now.
Still where he is, even if you were never played
stuck.
A role?
Yeah. He would be pretty stuck. I feel like he climbed so high and just kept climbing, and then as soon as I left, it was just plateau and downhill.
So you attribute yourself to a big part of his success?
Partially, yes. I attribute a lot to Jack, especially with the whole live streaming and everything of that sort. But I will give him credit. He does a lot on his own. I just help execute things in a very professional and timely manner.
Okay. And so what were the most important things you did to make sure that he was staying relevant and getting views?
Man, I think some of the things that I did to help him stay relevant and everything, and this was both me and Matt Batista. We shared a room and lived together throughout the entire time living with Jack. And him and I, we would just go back and forth on all sorts of ideas for streams, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, everything that would kind of propel his career further. But it was definitely a 180-degree turn when he started live streaming, and everything that goes into that, from building the backpack to setting up the toolkit servers, the stuff that no one sees behind the camera, and reaching out to clippers and hiring people, just the whole back end, when all you see is you scroll on social media and you see a TikTok of a stream clip. No one knows everything that went into just that one clip to be able to get that.
And you were orchestrating this whole sequence.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, there's so many angles to walk into this. I guess first let's start with the ideas. So you were helping him ideate like the type of content and video that he was doing?
Sorry, my dogs are going crazy right now.
It's okay, I think they're excited about the ideas.
Can you hear them or no?
It's not that bad. I can hear them, but it's not too distracting.
Okay, so as far as ideation goes, so I was partially an ideation guy. I think I would ideate more of his streams and ideas and collaborations that we would do, and having specific people over to the house. But it was more him coming to me, seeing if it was a good idea. So I would more define my role as a PR person. Like, hey, is this a good decision or not? Like, should we invite these people or no? Is this going to be a good mix for drama and get a bunch of clips out of it or no? And we would sit there, and one of the first streams that we did a huge party stream at the house, huge live stream. We had Natalie Reynolds. We had Zach and Nat there. We had Island Boys, just a bunch of various different creators from all sorts of different platforms. And we put them all in the same house with the objective that this is going to cause so much chaos. Like, I think that a lot of people don't understand. He tries to create chaos for a specific reason, and I respect him for it, but it does get to a certain point.
Mm-hmm. And this is presumably to get clicks and make more. How do you fabricate chaos in a way that gets the most clicks possible?
You got to be smart. You got to be really smart, and you got to be really careful that it only does clicks and it doesn't hurt your reputation.
Do you this is my question, right? Okay. I've seen so many big influencers do so many things that are like ethically dubious that like realistically should really harm their reputation. Like Logan Paul with the whole I don't know if you know this whole crypto Pokemon card thing that he did.
Partially, yeah.
Yeah, this crypto game or whatever. CoffeeZilla did a big exposed thing on it. No answer there. There's so many things that I feel like these big influencers are doing that I would assume it's like, okay, this has got to be bad for their brand, but they seem to get away with it every time, and still, like, Logan Paul is still selling a ton of Prime.
Yep.
Like, is it true that all publicity is good publicity?
I believe that 100%. I think that there's no such thing as bad publicity, whether it ruins your... I mean, we can take it back to, I don't even remember how long ago this was, but the whole Suicide Forest incident, right? Exactly. No one really remembers that. No one talks about it. No one cares about it anymore. And now they're still off doing their own thing, and they're doing so much better. So I think because we live in such a goldfish attention span society that you scroll and you see one thing and instantly 2 minutes later you already forget about it. So I feel like that has a big play in these influencers that are seeing the bigger picture of things, and they're sculpting these schemes and these publicity stunts that no one's just ever going to remember it. Like it's I don't want to say they're taking what's the word? I don't want to say that they're taking advantage of it, because I feel like that's wrong. They are, in a sense, just doing their job, but they're being smart about it. Like that's very smart for their own career and what they're doing. And there's no such thing as bad publicity ever.
Yeah. Have you ever seen something with someone you've worked with and been like, oh my God, there's no way that this is going to be good for them, and then they're just fine after it?
Oh man. Island Boys kissing Jack. I think that was like the worst publicity stunt ever. And I'm not saying that it was a publicity stunt. Maybe it was real, maybe it wasn't. But I remember that coming out while I was working with him, and he's doing fine. He's made millions of dollars. He's got his cars. He's got his house. Whatever. He's good in that aspect. So like that. But obviously, everyone looks at him and they see that. So that sucks. Mm-hmm. But he's still doing well, and he doesn't really care about it. So as long as he doesn't care, then why should anyone else? Like he let stuff not get to his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like honestly, if people can go really far now on social media just if they're willing to humiliate yourself. You know what I mean? If you're willing to humiliate yourself, you can pretty much automatically get attention by just doing the most bizarre, crazy things possible. I
have a saying that if it feels like you're doing it wrong, then you're doing it right. Because nothing that you ever do right is going to go right. Everything that you do wrong ends up going right. Mm-hmm. Everything that I've known for the past 8 years since I first picked up a camera until now, I remember just sitting and just working on videos for 20, 30 hours in post-production, and it gets 1,000 views. But then I'll pull out my iPhone and do the same exact video, and it'll get millions. Mm-hmm. So like, it feels like I was just doing something wrong and something that was completely unknown for me, and it ended up doing so much right in my life.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I'm actually a huge fan of like low effort content. I mean, I think you know the story with me, but like I was posting on like my main YouTube channel like paying an editor a decent amount, getting a professional thumbnail, recording with like a good camera, and like posting these videos, they were doing meh. Like I had one that did like okay, and then I posted on my Unfiltered channel where I literally just like turned on the camera on my Mac, like my like laptop, just explained shit with no script, and my third video is at like 700K views now.
Exactly.
I'm like what? Okay, so now now I get to I have to essentially pay less for editing in order to make more money. Like
correct, yeah. And I think that what you just tapped into is a completely different side of social media that is very raw and genuine, and something that people are not sharing and speaking about. People love the transparency. That's why I love what you're doing too. I'm a huge fan of everything that you do, because you're never going to meet someone that's just going to tell you bar for bar exactly how to do it, because they don't want you to succeed. And that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Of course.
So I want to get into orchestrating. Could you tell me how you orchestrated this clipping as well? Like, how big of a thing was this at the time? When were did you start this clipping stuff?
So clippers first started happening naturally. Okay, so when you would go live, let's say an instance happened, then it got clipped on the live stream, and that would be then posted to like the main feed. When you go visit someone on their stream, you can see their clips page. And anyone viewing, I believe, can clip and post on there, but being able to take those and then caption them, add sounds and stuff like that for social media to make it more attention span friendly.
Right, turning it into a vertical short.
Right. So we had a team of people, mostly found off of Fiverr, and a lot of them were just found through word of mouth through our short form and long form editors as well. And they would sit there and watch the live streams, or after the live stream was done, when they had access to the raw camera footage, they would go through and just make as much clips as possible. And then they would create these TikTok pages, Instagram pages, fan accounts, style pages that would post these clips. And because Jack wasn't posting them himself unless it was very important, like when the golf cart flipped, or when he met Lil Baby, or something that was very monumental, he wouldn't post them on his personal page. So that's why we had all these other pages to kind of help propel him even more.
And how important, do you know how that actually converts? Because I know so many streamers, like clipping is like genuinely a whole business model now. I had this guy, Nathan Johnson, not sure if you know him. I had him on my podcast. He does like $750K a year from just running fan accounts for people. Yeah. He just essentially will go to like celebrities like Young Gravy or QCP, says like, we'll get you an extra like 10 million views a month on fan accounts. You don't have to do anything. And we'll just get paid like a 2K retainer, and like and be able to take all the ad revenue from the accounts as well. So he'll make even more from just ad revenue from TikTok and YouTube by running their fan pages, than he even will from the retainers that he's getting.
Yeah.
But one of my questions is, how much does this actually convert to like, or what is the goal? Right. I guess when you're that big, I guess just broad scale awareness is important. But for me, I would want to see, like, let's say I was going to invest in clippers for my channel. Okay. I would want to see like, okay, how much is the actual clippers that these people are doing that I'm going to be paying like good money for? How much is that actually bringing people back to my YouTube channel and making me in return? Do you have any idea about that?
Yeah. So I feel like it comes down to what you really want out of it. Either you can pay $1 per clip for someone to go edit it, and it's just raw, it's just you cut, and you can throw it into an AI software and get captions off of it super easily. And then those can be posted to a fan account, and it's like either you manage that or someone else manages that, and you're like, hey, I'll give you 100% revenue of this account if you grow it and you blow it up. I feel like it's so scalable and so important, because when you start climbing to these millions and millions and millions of followers, you kind of start to hit a point where you're like, I feel like everyone I know follows me, or everyone who wants to know me follows me. So now it's time to bring general awareness. And what that entails is creating these fan accounts. So your guy was right entirely. By reaching out to these celebrities, I feel like it's pretty important to get permission first, of course, because you don't want to use their name to just make money off of it. But if they were getting paid a retainer to do it up front, so there is your overhead, and then you can then distribute that into hiring editors, paying people to post in social media and managing, and then just doing everything that the algorithm loves and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. There's really no strategy, but once you find what works, you stick with it and you keep going. And then eventually your ad revenue is going to just go up by so much, and you're going to make so much more money off of it, which I'm assuming is how your guy did it. How I would do it for you is you're in such a specific niche that what you would need to clip is to generalize what you do. And then once you find something that works, that explains what you do generally, you niche it down and you go as hard as you can.
Right. This is what to my understanding, I feel like the whole clipping thing actually really started from Andrew Tate all the way back in like 2021. Because if you think about it, okay, what he was selling was at the time was Hustlers University, like a way to make money online. But all of his content was like whatever, all the bullshit about, sparkling water and and how he beat your mom in flip-flops or whatever the hell he was talking about. Like, none of this
So
actually
random.
related. Yeah, it didn't relate at all to what he was doing. And then in podcasts he would make loose, call to actions, I feel like, to Hustlers University. It wouldn't be smart at all for me to make like videos of, how to get out of 0 view jail and have clippers like clip that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say, I also think this guy, I think he even told me at some points, he would like make fan accounts, grow them, and then basically threaten to stop unless he gets a retainer from them. You see what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah, so now he already has an account that's grown and can say like, I can already
this
get
is
you
what
views.
I'm doing
Yeah,
for you.
This is already 1 million views if you want me to keep doing this. Because a lot of the time I think he can get ad revenue regardless.
Yeah, that's good.
So what was you got these clippers from Fiverr? Were you really paying $1 per clip?
Sometimes, obviously, for like the lower produced videos, but it can also go up to like $50 a video, $60 a video.
Did you have incentives based on views?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you think that would change things?
I feel like that truly would have changed so much. And looking back at everything that I know now in social media, and especially the position that I just accepted that I told you about, there's a lot of incentives now in the future. And my mental health is so much better because the harder I work, the more I get out of it, the more that they will get out of it too. And I think that's so important that you're not just working to waste, if that makes sense. So like I would be behind the camera sometimes with Jack for 20, 30 hours at a time, and I was just getting paid a base salary. There was no incentives there. Or I would be putting my all into his YouTube, but there was no incentives there. So it's like I wasn't seeing anything go any higher, so why should I work harder? And that's so important to have in a business now.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I've heard a similar story with a lot of people, which is that their gateway into entrepreneurship is some sort of commission-based job where it's like the first time they recognize that they can actually make more money if they're more skilled. I talked to someone who, he essentially did sales, and it was mainly commission. And when he started realizing, holy shit, like if I actually just get better at this, like I could go from a 1K month to a 10K month purely based off of just actual just skill, which I can get better at the more I do.
Yeah.
Like that's when people, I think, go from, okay, yeah, base salary to like, no, yeah, I need to be rewarded based off of what I bring, like what more I bring.
Yeah. And I kind of want to dive in really quick, if you don't mind, to what scale actually means. Because there's so many people nowadays, this is just me being transparent, but there's so many e-commerce, drop shipping, Hustler University looking people on social media that are just driving around their GT3 RSs that are saying they're going to teach you how to scale your business, how to scale this, how to scale that, but no one actually knows what it means. And then they make you buy their course and find it out. What scaling actually means is making your money work for you and working smarter, not harder. Now, what this would break down to in my instance is like, okay, I would be paying this guy $50 a video for X amount of videos per week, but the other guy that I'm paying for $1 a video, his videos are doing so much better. So why should I be paying this guy $50? So the trial and error and figuring that out, you would really luck out if you can find someone that does less and you get more out of it. That's the scale. Because it makes no sense to pay this guy 50 when this guy for $1 a video is getting hundreds of millions of views per month and this guy's getting nothing.
Yeah.
Then that's the that's the perspective that I took in order to scale like clipping, for instance. It's just finding what works and what's going to make it worth it. In order to scale that. And I hate these, like, I don't really know much about drop shipping or e-commerce. I don't care to learn about it, but I just know that everyone talks about scale in their business. And that can come from finding a distributor that charges less and takes less of a percentage. Like, you just got to try so many different things and go down so many different paths to figure out what's going to scale you the highest.
Yeah, I fully agree. And with the clipping thing, because I was also thinking about how, like, right, you could pay the best amount. Like, this is where I feel like social media is really changing, because there's so many people who like want clippers, like streamers, celebrities, etc. And we're never able to like pay based on views, which is why I am like super bullish on WAP, because it's like now you could just set up a campaign and do that. I don't know if I guess you're not setting up clips for him anymore. But yeah, you could just set up a campaign, reward anyone in the world to start a Jack Doherty fan page.
Crazy.
And pay based on views, which gets automatically tracked.
That changed the game. I saw the video you posted about it, and that's why I messaged you asking about it. I was like, wow, is this legit? It's just an open source campaign platform. That is something that everyone watching this video needs to take advantage of.
No, I know. Next
big thing.
I mean, not only did when I saw WAP, I was like, it's so funny. I talked to the guy at WAP. Content rewards is like actually this thing with the open source campaigns. It's only like a small portion of what they do. Their actual big thing was kind of like as a competitor to like school, with like helping like people host online courses and communities. And he was like, yeah, we started content rewards, kind of like a side project thing. I was like, bro, what the like, obviously this is like actually gonna revolutionize how social media works. Like,
yeah, wow, that's so casual.
I know, bro was being so nonchalant about it.
Jeez, that's awesome though. Good for him.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, what I was gonna now go back to, you talking about scale, and for you, it seems like it's kind of like finding the best deal is part of scale, right? Like 100%. Making sure.
Yeah.
For me, I kind of view scale in two ways. I view it as you have like the solopreneur version of scale, right? Like how much can you scale yourself, and then the business version of scale. So as a solopreneur, I feel like my core thing is like skills, knowledge, and beliefs basically are the core things that help you scale. Like that guy in the sales job who could 10x how much he could make based on how good he was at the thing. Or like me, if I could make better YouTube videos, I could put in the same amount of work but get double the views, make double the, you know what I mean? So that's how I see it on a personal level. And then on like a business sense. And then on a business level, the way I see scale is like there's essentially, this is from, I don't know, do you know who Alex Hormozy is?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. He talks about like the leverage pyramid, where it's like at the bottom you have labor, and like the second one you have capital or using money to like reinvest, and then at the top you have code and content. And so these are the only things you can really do to scale past yourself. Like you can only ever get so good and use so much of your time to scale your own personal income, and that's when you have to use either other people's work, content that can be distributed at no marginal cost, code that could be sold at no marginal cost, or money that can be invested. That's
true. That's very true.
Yeah. And so how have you used those in your help with with Jack?
I gotta think about that for a second.
Well, I mean, you were definitely using labor when it came to clipping.
Right. I feel like once we had the principles of what was established with clipping and we found out what works in order to scale that, we literally just did it on a larger scale. Instead of, you know, hiring clippers at one point, we used the leverage of his social media platform to create a Discord server. And then out of that Discord server, people started getting paid per views that they were getting on their channel. So at the end of the month, it's like, okay, these people got, above 10 million views across the board. Like they're getting this paid out. And Jack would come out of pocket to pay those people those things instead of social media. So then they were starting to do it for Jack instead of just for whatever they were getting from social media. But then they were also getting that. So then there's those incentives too. But that helped us scale on such a larger board than before, was creating that Discord server and using the leverage that he had in the streaming community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to get into more of this. Now, I actually don't know that much about live streaming, but how is his... So my understanding is he kind of shifted from just YouTube videos to streaming as well. What happened during that shift?
So much. I think he just kind of hit a point where he was filming long form videos that weren't properly structured, right? So like we would go on a yacht and then we would go to a timepiece trading and go buy a watch, and then next thing you know we would be in New York back with his family, and it was just so scrambled and all over the place that once he found out live streaming and how you can just kind of take what you do in the day-to-day life and just go with it, he started just going with it because, obviously he lives in Florida around the Miami and Fort Lauderdale area. So if anyone that has lived there and created content there for a while, they know that everything pops up last minute. Like you don't know what you're going to wake up and do that same day. You just don't as a content creator. So because he was around that kind of schedule, it made sense for him to shift into live streaming because you never know what you're going to do the next day. Like one day we would wake up and it would be like 2 p.m. and he would tell me to start the live stream. We're going on a yacht. And then after the yacht, we'd end up at a club. And then after the club, we'd end up doing a hot tub stream. And then we'd end up at Denny's at 4 a.m. Like it was the most random stuff ever, but it would never make a good YouTube video unless something happened that was huge and drama related, which then the clips would come in, the YouTube long forms would come in, and like we didn't make a YouTube video out of every single long form video or long stream.
Right. My understanding is like with a video, there needs to be the whole game of videos is retention. And so if you can't have a connection between the expectations that you set up in your thumbnail and title, the hook of the video, and why someone should stay around and watch to the end, it's going to be hard to get a lot of views on a video like that.
100%, which is why when Jack started becoming known for, what is this kid doing? Like literally, what is this kid doing? Without a title, without a thumbnail, all you knew was Jack is going live, and you associated him going live with all these drama clips that you were seeing. Everyone knew to go watch his live. So that's how that converted.
And so what were the pros versus cons of live streaming when it comes to actually like making money from that?
I guess the pros of live streaming is that it was really good in the sense that you don't know what's going to happen out of it. I know that he got a major kick deal, which I was not disclosed any numbers, nor could I disclose them even if I wanted to.
Yeah,
but all I know is, that he got a really good kick deal. That was he was then at that point he was paid to be on the platform, which is great. That's amazing. And then The cons of it is if something bad happens and you get banned, then you're kind of shut down for good. And I guess another con of it would be being a little bit immoral, if that makes sense. Like, you kind of have to do non-moral things in order to get those clips that you want to go viral, to make money off of it. And that's something that I personally could not respect anymore, is you would put yourself in these dangerous situations just for clicks and for views. And although that would be associated with money that comes out of it and you would make a lot of money, you kind of ask yourself, at what cost?
Is that why you left?
Partially, yeah.
What else was at play?
I kind of get like a little bit emotional thinking about it, just because I was at such a bad point in my life that before I started working with Jack, just for my backstory, I was working in nightclubs and doing one-off jobs to kind of just make it by as a videographer. I didn't know what a retainer client was. I didn't know what, I knew nothing about business. And I went to Los Angeles with Logan Miller first. And then while I was there, he was staying at a house with Jack. And Jack saw my work ethic and everything that I was doing. I was doing photos for everyone, videos for everyone. He saw like the creativity in me. And a week later, I got home and he called me and offered me a job. And obviously, I'm going to say yes. Like, who in their right mind would say no to getting to move down to Florida, live in a mansion, create content, and just be around all these cool people? But it slowly became more draining than it was motivating. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And there was other people in the house that played a role in it too, for me leaving. But a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was putting in so much work and not getting a lot out of it. And that's why the incentives play such a big role, is if you put your all into everything, and specifically one person that's not willing to give you even some back, then you're going to burn out. And that burnout feeling is something that I don't wish upon my worst enemy. Burning out is the worst feeling. I came home and I didn't work for 2.5 months. 2.5 months after living and breathing, being a videographer for 5 years. I didn't work for 2.5 months, didn't touch a camera, nothing. And it took that long for me to get my shit together and pick up a camera again and go film something. Like, go ahead.
Yeah. If let's say because a lot of the time I'm on the other end of this, right? I'm trying to make sure that people I hire or work with are like happy. How do I make sure that this doesn't happen to them?
Give them incentives. Treat them like a human being. Treat them like how you would want yourself to be treated if you were in their shoes. I feel like that's so important, because although you're the main character, you're the YouTuber, you're the one giving them a job, you're the one paying them and everything, put yourself in their shoes and see how much they're truly doing for you. And if they deserve more, give it to them. Show them that you appreciate them and their work. That will go so much further than just having someone there as dead weight.
Yeah, I saw that in a lot of like software engineering positions, they get like a 15% bonus. And I was like, oh, that's good. But how does it work? And the way that they split it up is they do half of it is company dependent and the other half is like person dependent. So for you to get your bonus, you'll get half of the bonus if you like are in the top 10% of software engineers at your company, or 20% or whatever. You'll get that half of the bonus, but the other half is literally just dependent on if the company is doing well or not. You see what I mean? So if the company hits a certain profit goal, you just get the bonus, even if you're the shittiest software engineer there. And I think that's part of it. It's like when you hire people, it's like you're on a team with them. You're not like
Exactly.
just contracting them. And
Exactly.
so when you win, you want the whole team
Yep.
to take part of that win together.
Yeah. And even I really like that whole company incentive with the personal incentive, because the personal incentive makes people want to work harder. But even if they don't, even if, like you said, they're the worst software engineer in the world, they're still getting that company bonus. And they look at it as like, oh, wow, this company is still giving me a bonus because the company is doing good. So I'm still going to stay. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I'm horrible at my job, I might want to get better because then I can get the personal incentive. But if the company's doing good, I'm doing good, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. And they actually care about me as a team. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're like, oh man, I'm the worst software engineer out here. The company's doing horrible. I need to step up my game.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
That's a really good business model, actually.
Yeah. Um, I'll definitely be, because I saw this video yesterday. Actually, I'm like, okay, wait, I gotta take some notes from this.
Write
It's
that
like,
down.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, like this is how like the biggest companies in the world operate. This is like software
Yeah.
engineers at like Amazon and whatnot. So
Wow.
if anyone's if anyone's got it down, you'd think that these companies would know what they're doing.
100%.
Okay, so how did you actually end up like? Talk to me about the importance of networking. It obviously seems like, especially with your career and how it's been so far, like it's like one of the most important things. You could
It
have the
really
same
is
client that's you could do the same exact thing for two different clients and get paid and
extremely different.
a vastly different amount.
Yeah. So to go along with networking, um, I want to share a story. So straight out of high school, I graduated early in high school because I knew I wasn't going to college. I couldn't afford it. My family couldn't make it happen. And I was filming at the time. So I was like, man, I'm going to make something out of this. 2 months after being out of high school and graduating, I went to like a car event or whatever. And I brought my camera. I was filming some stuff. I met this guy. His name was Hunter, and we connected on social media. I just talked to him. He was another videographer, so we talked about cameras and stuff for a while. Next thing you know, 3 weeks later, he calls me and he was like, hey man, I'm moving to Florida. My position in this media company is available. Would you like to take it?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow. Just because I sat there and talked to this guy and just had a personal conversation with him about him and who he was, not what he wants to do or what he does for work or anything like that, just cared about him as a person, then I got a job out of it. And then that spiraled into me working with several different clients. I feel like client relations is so important, in just either giving them what they want to hear or treating them like a person. I think that the business model that I've scaled so far is being able to treat these billionaires as people, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times they forget. They walk into a conference room, they're sitting down at a table, everyone has their suits and ties on, and they're all just sitting there just like this, ready to type on their computer. And it's like, you see me and I'm wearing beat up Vans, cargo pants, and I got $40,000 in camera gear, and I walk into this room and they light up. They hug me, they shake my hand, dap me up, whatever, because they're like, man, I'm excited to work with this kid. He's got so much energy. And what I do for a living, to be fair, doesn't revolve around having a serious approach to it, but a lot of people take it that way. They'll sit there and cold call on the phone and they're like, would your business be interested in having a social media retainer client, blah, 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 blah. No, I got those retainer clients by just being a nice person to people. I think that's so important, because those people forget what it feels like, and I enjoy being able to bring them back to what it feels like to just have a normal conversation with someone.
Do you remember the first time you talked to Jack?
First time I talked to him. So I met him and I knew about him, and I filmed his McLaren before it was even blue, when he first got it and it was black. And I think I said hi to him, and that was about it. And then, man, the first time I truly talked to him, I have a funny story actually. we were in LA on that same trip that I was working with Logan, and we hired a, I don't know if we can put this in the video, but it's just funny to share. We hired a black male stripper to sleep in Jack's bed as a joke, and like swapped this black stripper out with McKinley, and he woke up and it was the funniest reaction ever, bro. Like it was so hilarious. And then throughout the trip, we would hire this guy to come back to the house just throughout the day, just to hang out and have fun, because he was hilarious. But I think my first time having a one-on-one conversation with Jack was when he actually offered me the job. He was just like, hey man, like, I appreciate you and your work ethic and everything that you do and everything you did for Logan. Like, I want to have you a part of this company. And so I said, okay, let's do it.
That's crazy. So it was literally just him showing his, or you just showing your dedication. Not even like there wasn't even like schmoozing or anything going on. He just saw you work. That's crazy.
Yeah. But from what I've heard through the grapevine is Logan Miller, actually, when I was down there to visit a friend of mine, her name's Camilla Ruggio. When I was down there visiting her, I was at the house with Jack, Logan, McKinley, like when they were first dating, I think, and Michelle. This was their first house in Fort Lauderdale. Logan missed his flight to Los Angeles. He overslept. And when he came downstairs, I saw the camera he was using, and I pointed it out to him, and that immediately sparked a conversation. I showed him like 3 videos I did, and he had lost his mind. He was like, wow, you're so talented. You're so good, blah, blah, blah. And then even I heard through the grapevine, like through other girls and stuff, that Jack was saying that my work is extremely good. And at the time, I had no idea who Jack was. Like, I had never seen his videos or anything before, and he was just saying this about me. So it was a good feeling to know that my videos had that effect on people.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what are the biggest lessons you've been with, like, people who make way more money than I've ever been close to? What are the biggest lessons you've learned through osmosis from just being near them?
I think the biggest takeaway that I've sat at the table with billionaires before, and people that have built and sold companies for more money than I could ever fathom as well. But I've, again, sat at a table with them, been in the same room with them, and everything. It almost feels like I'm just right there with them. And the advice that they've given me has changed my life for good. Don't do business with, or let me phrase this properly. Oh, let me wait for my dogs to start barking or stop barking. There we go. Damn, man, every time. Nova. I think we're good.
There's so much suspense. It went silent. You were about to drop it, and then it just started barking.
You have to do business with the right people. You really do. Mm-hmm. Even though there's fine print and everything set in stone, you need to know who they are as a person. Because everything may seem good in contract, but as soon as you shake hands and sign that piece of paper and you're locked into a deal, they could screw you over more than you could ever imagine. And one of the people who told me this, she built and sold a pharmaceutical company to launch it. They didn't launch the company. She sued them for $1 billion. They bought the company for $1 billion cash. She then sued them, got that money back, and launched the company herself. And it is one of the hardest, like, entrepreneurial stories I've ever heard in my life. And I'm, like, extremely happy for her and all of her success. But advice that she's given to me is to do business with the right people and the people that want to propel you further, not just make a deal because it's going to benefit them.
Mm-hmm. How do you find that?
You don't. You let those people find you. You keep doing what you're doing. You keep scaling your company. You keep doing your YouTube channel. And then eventually, one person, you're going to get that one email, that one call, that people see what you are doing and they want to be a part of it. Not because it benefits them, but because they're like, wow, this person's doing amazing. I need to support them and be with them on their journey. And that is what has taken at least 75% of the millionaires and billionaires that I've sat at a table with, all of them have said the same thing. That is what propelled them to the next step, is having that team behind you that really supports you.
Mm, that makes sense. So essentially, because I hear people say this, they're like, because the advice is always like, oh, well, you're going to be the average of the 5 friends you surround yourself with. And someone will say, well, how do I find those 5 people? Well, you could start by being that person. You could start by, like you did, actually show your work ethic and actually have values that you stick to.
Yeah.
And that's how you attract the right people in.
Yeah, actually, you can keep going, but I'm going to try and find on my notes page. I met Mark Cuban a while ago at a conference, and I'm going to see if I can pull up the quote.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Anyways, so it's from, I'll screenshot it first. So it's from Mark Cuban. So I flew with that same entrepreneur. I flew with her to New Orleans. She was speaking at a conference. Another business that she built was investing in female-owned companies. So she'll go and speak at these conferences. It's kind of like a female Shark Tank in a way. Well, when I showed up there in the green room, sure enough, was Mark Cuban. And I was just like, I know this dude from TV. This is so cool. So I went up to him and I shook his hand, and like I remember his bodyguard being behind him, and I was just like terrified at this big dude, and I was just like, man, should I do it? Should I do it? So I was like, you're Mark Cuban, right? And he was like, yeah, what's up, buddy? How you doing? And he like shook my hand super firmly. I'll never forget. It was like one of my favorite handshakes. I actually nailed it because you know you can do it awkward. Yeah, whatever. But I started talking to him, and he asked who I was with, of course. I told him, and told him what I was doing there. He was like, man, that's awesome that like you're getting to do what you love. And I told him a little bit of my backstory, and I asked him if he had any advice for me. And it was very simple. He told me to work today, like tomorrow, everything was going to be taken away from me. And that really sat with me, because it's like, what if I wake up tomorrow and all my channels are banned, my job opportunities are out the window? What do I do? Mm-hmm. Like, you really got to put all your focus, and not to be like, what's the word, like gruesome or anything, but tomorrow's not promised. I know speaking from personal experience, I've had a lot of people in my life that have just not woken up one day. And it's something so hard, but so real, that people need to wake up and realize you need to work your ass off every single day. Like tomorrow, you will not have anything to your name at all. And if you live with that mindset and you grind every single day, like tomorrow it all disappears, you're going to be more successful than anyone you've ever met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like, well, the other element of that too, to me, that I'm always focused on is like, how do I work on things that I know I will be able to take forward. So even if they took away whatever, the YouTube channel, well, too bad. I've developed the skill of making good videos. So I know if I had to restart from scratch, I'd be fine.
Yep. And that's why
it would suck, but I really do think I would be able to create good videos and within a couple months start to pick up in subs.
100%. That's why wealthy people make their money work for them, because if it was stripped away tomorrow, it's not like they don't have anything. Mm-hmm. They make that impossible. Like they invest in real estate properties, they invest in stocks, they do all of these certain things that if tomorrow they were gone, everything around them and they've built is still there, and they make that footprint, which is awesome.
Yeah. So going forward with your videography and, with the connections you have, what are your future plans?
Future plans, I just landed a job with McKinley Richardson, which is kind of of a funny situation, but like,
and this was Jack's girlfriend.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. But I am allowed to talk about this. She is the most genuine, kind-hearted person I've met in my entire life. She cares about people, everyone around her, make sure that they're taken care of. And so my job with her moving forward is going to be to scale her, not just into a successful influencer or anything of that sort is to scale her into the person that she wants to become. Whether that's being a streamer, being a Snapchat star, being bigger on YouTube Shorts, whatever that is, I just want to make sure that she becomes a person that she wants to be. And I feel like I've applied that to so many different businesses in the past, because when I moved back from Florida and came to North Carolina, I took everything that I learned from influencers and applied it to businesses in a retainer aspect. And instead of saying, hey, I can blow you up on social media, I can get you a website developed or anything like that. No, I sit down and I ask them, hey, what's something that you're missing in your social media? What's something that you really want to do, but you can't do it yet because you're missing something? I feel like you generate that thought in their head of like, wow, I feel like I'm missing a website. I feel like I'm missing a YouTube channel, man. Like, I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I'm like, okay, great. Let's start a YouTube channel. This is the price breakdown for everything. I want to work with you. I want you to be happy in what you do. And offering that to people is going to get you so much further than just breaking it down in like just running their social media. It's like, no, what do I got to do to make you be where you want to be? Because not everyone wants to be this multi-millionaire with all these flashy cars. They just want to be happy. So I just like establishing that in business is so important. And a lot of people don't see that.
So what draws you to be the guy behind the camera? Are you shy?
Super shy, bro. Super shy.
Really?
You turned like this whole time I feel like I've been smiling because I'm not used to being in front of the camera. I will tell you one thing. I've filmed hundreds of videos by myself and I've deleted every single one of them.
What types of videos?
Just talking head videos where I'll sit down in front of a camera and break down like 24p versus 60p or lighting or just everything that revolves like I can just sit there and talk about for hours on end. And I'll have ChatGPT create a script for me and I'll sit down and I'll record it a few different times. And I've deleted every single video because I'm like, man, this personally is not me. This isn't what I want to do. I don't care about myself. I care what I do for other people. Because what I see in other people is a reflection of myself. And I know that's a very toxic thing to say because I rely on other people's success in business or whatever. No. It's because I know that I'm going to do what it takes day in, day out to make sure that they're successful and that they're happy with where they are and bring them to that point. And if I can't do that, then what are we doing here? Like, I feel like I want everyone around me to be happy. And I'm so happy within myself and I'm so secure within myself that I don't need that anymore in my life. So I know that I can offer that to other people. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people lack with. And yeah, I've always been shy, man. Always been so shy. Shy.
If you could make yourself not shy, like with a snap of a finger, would you take that?
I think maybe one day it would be nice to just like have a camera pointed at me, just follow me in the chaotic days that I have in my life. Because I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it doesn't have to be the chaotic Jack Doherty stuff. It could also be just, you could also be a guy who teaches people how to, record videos correctly or use camera equipment. Like I still don't know. I still use this to record like any of my professional videos. I still just use my phone.
That's crazy. I mean, good for you though. That's all you really need.
No, yeah. I mean,
that's what I started with. I actually have it tattooed on my wrist. It spells, well, I know it's reversed, but it's LOVE when it's upside down, but I can't bend my arm like that. And it's playing cards. So in 6th grade, I was like obsessed with Magic, like specifically card Magic. Chris Angel, David Blaine, those were my 2 idols. And I wanted to learn how to do card Magic. So I slowly learned. I learned from Magic books and Magic stores and stuff. This was way before YouTube was like making tutorials and stuff. And I started making these card videos and I built this, like, I have a picture. I'll send it to you. It's a 2x4 piece of wood, a 2x4 piece of wood, and another 2x4 piece of wood with a DVD player and an iPhone. And the DVD player was like my anchor weight. and my busted iPhone 5S was a top-down shot of me playing with my cards and doing magic tricks and stuff, man. And that moment, like, that will always sit with me, that no matter what, no matter where I go in life today, I started with little to nothing, and I found a way to make it happen. So no matter where you are, you see these people using these flashy cameras or the cool red and blue lighting that you have in the background. You don't need that. You just need to do it.
No, it's crazy. Again, I mean, my videos did better when I stripped back the thing. So
it's so crazy.
I kind of view it as, I view entrepreneurship as the skill of allocating resources, honestly. So really, when you're in a situation where you don't have like a lot of resources, let's say you didn't even have a good phone to record on, you just have like something crappy. The question is, how do I make the most out of the resource that I have? Yeah. And so you can do that. You can have a channel that people watch because it's bad quality, so it feels authentic. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So you can always spin it.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so I'll ask, how going forward, because I know it seems like you had some, issues and burnout with how do you plan to avoid that with working with McKinley?
I think it really just comes down to the pure happiness that's around it. And as we talked about earlier, the incentives are really important, because the harder I work, the more I get out of it. And that will literally prevent burnout. Is even if you start from scratch, if I was to start from scratch and make a YouTube video tomorrow, I post one video, it gets 10 views. I get down in the dumps. I post another video, it gets 1,000 views. I'm like, wow, okay, this is good. Whether you believe it or not, social media is all incentive based. The more views you get, the happier you're going to be, the more you're going to want to make content. And then the more you're going to want to make content, the more successful you become, and then the more money you make and the more videos. And it's just this endless process. But if you're just sitting there getting consistently the same out, but you're pouring more in, then you're going to burn out. So you really need to make sure that what you're getting out of it is what you're putting into it.
Yeah. Do you have an incentive set up with her?
I do.
What does that look like?
So that is percentage of Snapchat and potentially percentage of streaming services as well, once we get that started up.
And then is there the dog's excited once again.
Right? She just barks at the perfect time.
Is there a retainer element and a percentage element?
There is, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's obviously going to be a retainer of, I can tell you, above 6,000, below 8,000, without saying a specific number. And then the incentives.
And so what does that entail? That's, you're going to be getting for Snapchat, for example.
Right.
If any viewers haven't seen how much Snapchat can make, check my video.
Make a lot.
Especially for females.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're going to be taking all the content, like the pictures, the videos, deciding what to post each day, getting the thumbnails to get clicked on.
Right. So my role is pretty much going to be a managerial role. So I'm just going to be posting, but also on top of the managerial role is making sure that she takes that content. Either she takes that content, because I'm back and forth between North Carolina and Florida. So I'm like, hey, make sure you get Snapchat content today. I'll post it up these days and all this stuff. But I'm going to be the one creating the storylines on Snapchat and creating the thumbnails and posting the public stories. And thanks to you now using Repurpose AI. Posting all of her old videos onto Spotlight is going to do wonders, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, phenomenal. No, that blew up my Snap, honestly.
Yeah. So we're really excited to move in that direction with things. But what the sorry, I didn't touch on this, but what the base salary covers as well is obviously I take photos for her, all the photos you see on Instagram and stuff. I take those photos every week. We'll do a set amount of photo shoots, do long form YouTube videos, short form YouTube videos, cinematic style edit videos, all sorts of stuff that's kind of like, it's not really incentive based, but it's stuff that should be covered regardless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like the incentive, it's so good. I have a guy, this is a strat, by the way. This is a little exploit. I don't know. You might be able to use this as well. But with my juggling videos, right, so we looked through all the juggling videos that I have. We compiled in a folder all of the videos that I've posted that have over 1 million views. So any of them with like viral potential, basically. Mm-hmm. There was like 60 videos. That was from me just posting a bunch over the years. And we've just been reposting them. So think about this for a second. 60 videos, that means you can pretty much cycle through the videos every 2 months. You could post one a day, cycle through them every 2 months. And these videos go viral the second times that I post them, right? So, and make money still from ad revenue.
Congrats.
So we essentially did that. And I have a guy who's like just logged into my accounts and he just has 10% of like, cause right now I'm not even really recording new stuff. So I'm like, all right, you take this and just take 10% of however much it makes. And so now he's incentivized to, repost the best videos on like a normal schedule. He's happy. Like I'm happy because I'm making more money. But another thing I guess on that is just that it was a funny way for me to see social media because I never thought about it in this way, right? When you have someone like Jerry Seinfeld, he makes a lot of his money now because he had episodes that aired once, but that air again, and then he makes royalties from it. And it's like, okay, well, that would be great, right? But you actually can do that on social media. If you have a big enough stockpile of videos that have gone viral, you can just keep recycling them and keep earning from them. And again, just having someone on direct incentive for that. He'll just, for example, like a lot of these videos I posted for the first time, I posted without captions, for example. So he'll just repost the same video, just add captions, and obviously do whatever he thinks will make it blow up. Exactly.
That's awesome. That's so good.
So I feel like it's a very similar structure, and no one can be mad about that.
Exactly. But like you said, you're happy with it. You're happy giving him incentives because it's at the end of the day also resulting in you getting more out of it too. Mm-hmm. So incentives are the way to go.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. Well, I think that covers kind of a lot of the things that I asked. And I think what a lot of people would be interested in when it comes to how you're working with this people.
Yeah.
I like to end the podcast on like a fun note. I don't know if I have a specific fun question here. But like in the past, I'll ask people like if there was a guy I talked to, he was really good at Minecraft. That's how he made a lot of his money. So I was like, when are we playing Minecraft and what thing are we doing? Yeah. But I don't know what that is in this situation.
So like something that I do that makes a lot of money, or
no, it doesn't. Something that's probably unrelated to money, honestly.
Just unrelated in general.
Yeah, something fun.
Something fun. Bro, wait, give me another example.
It's hard for me to think of it off the top of my head. I mean, maybe if the person juggled, I'd say, okay, now show me a juggling trick or something. Or show me a magic trick. Do you have cards with you?
Oh my god, yeah, I do. Wait, one second.
Okay, let's see a magic trick then. I don't know how I didn't think of that. That was the most obvious thing.
Oh my god, it's been years.
I'm so ready to be impressed. I don't know how I didn't think of that. Obviously, you mentioned the magic, so I had to see it. Okay. Can you do the cool shuffle?
The cool shuffle. What is the cool shuffle? Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I can do something a little cooler too. I'm shaking because all I've had is a cup of coffee today.
Whoa! What the?
Man, it's been so long since I've done that. Okay. How should I do this? Fuck. I've never done magic over a computer. Wait, let me think of something cool I can do. Um, why am I blanking right now, dude?
I'm
can
ready.
show
You
you,
gotta
like-
have
I
a
can
trick
show
up
you-
your sleeve, right?
Yeah, no, I have a magic trick I can do. It takes a few seconds if that's cool.
That's fine.
It's
Yeah.
like a routine thing.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
cool.
I want the whole
So-
routine.
All right, if you were here, I would ask you to pick a card. This trick, it genuinely doesn't matter. But let me go ahead and shuffle
Okay.
it first for you.
I'm still gonna pick one though.
Let me know if anything's like off camera. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. Okay, ready? Pick
Okay.
a card, any card you want.
Okay, stop.
Right
That
here?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
That one? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to slowly like pick this up. I'm going to turn around though so I don't see it, okay?
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
You got it? The
Yeah, I
number
got
and
it,
the
I
suit?
got it.
Okay,
I got
cool.
it, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to take your card.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to like look at it. So I'm going to
Yeah.
put it into the middle of the deck here, fair and square,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
I've never done this on my lap either. I'm just going to cut the deck. I'm going to give it a shuffle. Just get your card entirely lost, okay? So when I
Okay.
first started doing magic, this was one of the first tricks I ever learned. And it's kind of a funny story because my dad got really mad at me. We only had one deck of cards in the entire house. And I decided to destroy it.
Oh my.
So this card trick is called slop. And basically what it is I am supposed to... I can't do
Whoa,
this.
that's
bro.
so cool.
I'm supposed to kind of just make a mess out of the entire deck. So I put face up into face down, face up into face down throughout the entire deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just so you believe me, I'll show you. Some are face up, some are face down. Some are face down, some are face up. And some of the cards are back and back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I snap my fingers, all of the cards return face down,
What?
except for your
What?
selected card.
Dude, what the fuck? Wait, how, dude? I was watching that
Man, I
whole
haven't done that
time.
in years. I'm so glad I didn't fold.
I was literally watching it the whole time, and it just... I have no
Crazy,
idea how
right?
you did that.
Well,
That's a beautiful way to end off the podcast. Joseph,
Dope.
thank you so much for hopping on.
Of course, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.